Hello, it's Cha Cha Time Podcast. And on this episode, I want to talk about Netflix Cuties, wrong advertising. I saw this and I was all for cancel Netflix. Now, I am still for canceling Netflix, cancel Netflix by any means necessary. But with this movie, I watched it. I'm glad I did because I saw where the director was going with this movie. It is a French movie by Mamour Ducour, and the movie it critiques the society's sexualization of girls. Now, this movie is following an 11-year-old girl named Amy, which is played by Fatia Yusuf, and she desperately wants to be a part of a dance clique with the girls from her school. And one of the girls live in her building, and the other girls are friends of the girl that lives in her building. So anyway, long story short, the girl desperately wants to join this clique. At first, they're picking on her and everything, just like you would see with teenagers, tweens, because I'm not going to say teenagers, they're tweens, they're 11-year-olds. And I really was like, I can't believe they're doing this, but I see where the director was going with this movie. Don't knock something until you try it, so don't knock something until you watch it. I watched it. It was cringing. It was cringe-worthy. I was definitely cringing in the movie, but it's showing you exactly how girls are viewed with the dancing and everything that goes on. I mean, we have the whole dancing dolls, and even when I was watching Dancing Dolls, I didn't like some of the dance moves and everything that the girls were making, because we have to realize the society we're living in now, and pedophiles are everywhere. And with that being said, is that when you have girls dancing sexually like that, you have to also remember that there are pedophiles and they're watching them. They're honing in on this, and that's how a lot of girls get sex trafficked, by way of someone telling them that they're going to give them a promising career and future and everything, and then they become sex slaves. Now, with that being said, I also want to talk about Amy's background. Amy background in the movie, the young girl Amy, her family is Muslim, so they have a strong Muslim religion background, and they believe in covering of the body and everything, and excuse me, and they covering up. And at the beginning of the movie, you'll see the women in a prayer circle, and in that prayer circle, they were praying, and the elderly mother said that there will be more women in hell. Now, I could go on and talk about that, but I'm going to talk about that a little later. But I understood exactly where she was coming from. Because when we look at society now, I mean, the number one song in the country is Cardi B's and Meg Thee Stallion's WAP. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. That's the number one song. So we're looking at a Jezebel spirit that's sweeping our nation. Young girls desire to be like them. They don't want to become First Lady of the United States. They don't want to become First Lady of the Church. And I know when you have titles like that, or even if you just want to be a doctor, there are other things that can come with that, but they don't want to be a lady. Let me put it like that. They don't desire to be a lady and hold a position like that. They would rather be twerking and tooting it up, or whatever they call it these days, and showing their body parts. I mean, we're living in a society where it's OnlyFans type thing going on. People literally exploiting their bodies for cash, and that's prostitution within itself. So girls desire to be like the girls they see on TV in Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives and all that, because those women, they live loud, to me, obnoxious lives, but they exploit it, and they looking at the bling and the this and the that and the houses and the cars, when they don't understand that all that's just TV and it's fake. But anything not of Christ is of demonic. It goes back to the movie with the little girl. The movie is really, really deep. It's really, really informative. So, I mean, kudos to the director. Yes, the advertising was wrong. The advertising was totally wrong, and I'm still for canceling Netflix. I do not have a Netflix account. I have Fire Stick. Use your imagination on that. But yes, in the movie, there's a lot of things going on with this little girl's life. Her dad is getting married, so he left the mom. She's under the bed crying. She's dying to be in this dance group, and the girls did dance, but it was not the girls were doing like provocative dance. The provocative dancing didn't come until Fatia, the girl Fatia Yusuf playing Amy, till she came along and she introduced the provocative dance moves to the girls. So it was like something took over Amy. It was like something possessed her, because in the movie, after she joins the clique and she teaches them the dance move, the thrusting on the floor for like, I mean, that lasted a good 3-4 minutes, and I was just like, okay, enough is enough, because I was like sick of seeing it. That's why I said it's cringy to me. And then the popping of the pelvic, and they was touching each other, smacking each other on the rear end. So I feel like the director could have went other ways to expose how society is sexualizing girls. But I do get the undertone of it. And then it was a part in the moment in there where the girls were like dancing in front of a man for two men. I'm sorry, for like, it went on for like maybe excuse my voice, maybe like 3-4 minutes, but it was like, oh my God, dismiss them from your presence. And then the guys dismissed them. But it's a lot of details in the movie. And the young lady, or the young girl, Amy, is she does some things. She takes pictures of her underwear. She posts them. She just wants the likes. Like the kids today. I mean, they do everything for posting. They fight on social media. They post things of their body parts. They take selfies, not face selfies. They take body selfies. And we know that pedophiles, they're everywhere. They're on the internet. They're on the internet, and they can get access to talk to your child and lure them out of the house and everything. So be mindful of that when your child is on social media, and what they listen to as well, because what they listen to and seeing is inspiring to them, and they're not liking the things that are of Christ and that should be of that age. They don't play with dolls anymore. When I was 11, I was still playing with dolls. And my mom was still doing my hair. Me and my cousin, we were still playing with dolls. That's all I can remember. When I was 11, I was still playing with Barbie dolls and pretending to be a teacher. So, now girls today, they're all about selfies, and they have social media, and their parents allow them to have it, and some parents monitor and some don't. But even in the monitoring process, you still kind of miss things. But with let's go back to the movie, because I'm talking about that because all of this is just about how Amy and those girls played out in that movie, just like real life. And she didn't own a phone. She stole the phone. And all on social media, and getting likes and views. And it was a point where her mom fell out on the floor, and the brother, he jumped up. The baby brother jumped up and was like, Mom. And she was just had this look on her face like, it was like a disgusted look. And then when her mom kind of, got up, she was kind of like, oh well. And she started to eat. And there was no motion there, nothing. Like I said, something took over Amy. And it's just like I said, this Jezebel spirit. Just the way Beyonce says when she performs on stage, she's no longer her. It's Sasha Fierce. So something took over her, because in the movie, I'm telling you, this movie is very, very good. In the movie, her mom and grandmother is praying over her, and they're throwing water at her and praying at the same time. And she's standing there in this middle of this living room area, and they throw in the water and praying. And she's all of a sudden she goes into this gyrating movement, and I'm talking about gyrating. It wasn't no Holy Ghost. It was gyrating. She was twerking. She was popping. She was pelvic thrusting, or however you want to say it, popping, pelvic popping. She was just gyrating all over the floor, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, this girl is possessed, and really that's what it was. And I said it's the Jezebel spirit, and the Jezebel spirit is just not for grown women. It's attacking our young girls because of what they're seeing. They're seeing people like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, and I don't care how much you want to say it, Beyonce, and it's some more. It's a whole lot of them out there that's showing young girls, and these girls are inspired by them. They want to be like them, using profane language and being naked and popping and cursing and all that stuff. So little girls are not little girls anymore. They're already being introduced to the Jezebel spirit. And I think when I seen that advertisement, I said, this is it. They've gone too far. They're exploiting the babies now. Like, this is enough is enough. They're already trying to legalize pedophilia, So now here they are. They're going to exploit the kids anyway. We got sex trafficking on the rise. Georgia just found like 39 kids, and I was thankful God for that. Somebody be like, well, 39, that's a small number, but 39 is a big number for me, and I'm gonna thank God for it, because so many of our babies get caught up in the sex trafficking and become sex slaves, all because of stuff like this. Some kids are being kids and they just get taken, but some girls are out there exploiting themselves, and parents were not watching. They're not watching their kids and exploiting themselves, and next thing you know, you're on the news crying because you're looking for your child. That's why we have to be mindful of what's going on in our house. Like this parent, she was like, something is wrong. You're not my daughter. And she told her it was moving so good. She said, you're not my daughter. I would kill you. She was like, you're not my daughter. I don't know who you are. And she wasn't. The girl was like possessed. She was doing things like she pushed a girl over in the river just to go and perform. She was like, no. I'm going to push her. I'm going to perform. I'm the one. I'm the star. And she got out there and performed and everything. But in the midst of her performance, her mom was praying for her. And I talk about intercessory prayer. It works. And her mom was praying for her. And she came into like this catatonic state. And she like froze. And then they was like, come on, Amy, you got to keep up. And she just ran off the stage, ran all the way home, and she was met at the door by her grandma. Her grandma was critiquing her clothes that she had on. She was talking. She was speaking in the Senegalese language, so she was pulling on her clothes. So I knew she was talking about her attire that she had on. Plus, it was her dad's wedding, so her mom talked to her and everything, and she hugged her, and it was just like she had became the 11-year-old girl that she's supposed to be. Just within that moment, she became that 11-year-old girl that she's supposed to be, and that 11-year-old girl that any girl's supposed to be. Just playing in the neighborhood, being an 11-year-old, and it was like she had just transformed back. The demonic spirit had just left. But with that, with that Jezebel spirit, people probably say, well, that's for adults. No, because our young girls are looking at that. And in a later episode, my friend girl Lavita Taylor Mack is going to join me, and we're going to go in deep on this Jezebel spirit, because it's so poignant right now with our young girls and with grown women as well. It's time to put aside those things of the devil and pick up our cross and live for Jesus. And pray over your children. Pray over your children. Every day, pray over your children. Be mindful of the people in your house, at your table, you bring in over your children. Just be mindful, even of family members, because they're in the families as well. But just be mindful of who's around your children, and monitor what they listening to and who they inspire to be like. Talk about those things with your children, like who you inspire to be like. And you as the parent, when they say something like Cardi B or Beyonce or somebody in that world, be like, You know, me or you the parent. So look at you or somebody. Just be your own person and live a life that's pleasing for Christ. Because living a life like that, trust you and me, is not pleasing to Christ. It's not. It's not pleasing to Christ at all. It's just like all I can say is just pray over your children, and the movie definitely advertised it wrong. Netflix, whoever was over advertising, could advertise better because it did look like exploitation. Because I was like, no, no. But then I was like, well, if I'm going to talk about this, I was on my podcast, then I need to watch it because I don't want to come and give you something that I haven't checked out myself. So I did watch it last night. It was cringe-worthy, but it was good. And it was one of those movies that got that. It wasn't black and white, but it's got that indie film vibe to it. So, yeah. And, you have to, I guess, have a liking for those movies. But I liked it. It was good. So, kudos to Maymuna Decor, because I do get what she was saying. She was showing exactly what society's girls look like today with all this twerking and everything, pelvic popping, however you want to call it. But it's just not appropriate, and we should really, really monitor what our kids are listening to, what they're looking at, because I'm telling you now, music has a way, and the type of music has a way of setting your child's life up. Like, you listen to certain things, it gets in that head, and it stays there. And songs make you want to act out things. When I listen to praise and worship, I just want to give God glory. But I don't try to listen to anything else because I don't have time for that, because those songs carry a spirit. Trust and believe they carry a spirit. And the things we watch, because the Bible says guard your heart, your ears, and your eyes. We have to guard those. And for our children, we got to help, aid, and guard theirs. And be mindful of the things they watch, and the things they listen to, and the things they say, and who they want to be like. Like I said, you're the parent. You can shape and mold your own child's mind into who they want to be and be like. I never forget the story was told to us once in Sunday school about a couple that wanted their child to be a doctor. So all they did was brought their child doctor stuff, doctor books, doctor toys. And today that child, a grown person, is a doctor. So be mindful of the things you put, that you allow your child. I know you saying, well, they, come in, let them listen to what they want to. Yeah, but you the parent. Parent what they listen to. Monitor what they listen to. Don't be your child's friend. Be the parent. And I'm not a parent. I teach school. And I don't befriend my kids. I teach my kids, but at the same time, I love them and I give them tough love. And I would even aspire my kids to do. If they tell me, oh, I want to be a rapper, I'd be like, well, how about making your own music? How about you being over music production, like a company, like over a music industry, like you produce the music? I said, how about that? Like, I tell them, how about producing the music? Brother, you being a rapper, how about you produce music? Or they tell me they want to be an actress. I tell them, be bigger than that, because I want the best for my kids. I want the best, and I want them to have a promising career and future. And I really, really want them to have Christ in their life. They need Christ. We all need Christ in our life. And with Christ, we can do all things. We can do all things with Christ. So, yeah, I do pray over my students, too. Can't nobody stop me from praying over my students. And I pray over all these young kids out here in the world, because of this society we're living in. It's wicked. When your children exit your house, they're exiting into a spiritual, dark realm. And Satan is out there ready to enlarge his attack. Sometimes, like I said, it's in your own household. It's in your own family. Pray and plead the blood, and have that talk with your children too. Have that talk with them. There's nothing wrong with talking to your children about things of that nature. And also, just like I said, be mindful of the things they watch and do and dance to. Just cause it's the latest dance craze don't mean My child has to be associated with that latest dance grade. My child don't have to be associated with that latest dance grade. But that's all I want to say about that. The only thing I can say about this movie, Cuties, Netflix Cuties, is that it was wrong advertising. But I'm still for canceling Netflix. I've been ready to cancel Netflix. I do not have a Netflix account, so please don't be like, well, she talking about she watched the movie. I watched it another way. I don't have Netflix. And Netflix has some things on there that I'm not pleasing about, especially when it comes to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Do not be fooled. God is not mocked, So, they got this Jesus series, and I'm going to talk about that, and I'm not watching it. I'm telling you now. So, you don't like to hear my podcast, don't stop and listen. But all I can say is I'm going to talk about that episode, that show, not the episode, that show that Netflix has of Mark and God having this gay Jesus. I'm upset and I'm not watching it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to talk about it because I know what it's about. And I've been reading reviews. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about my friend Lavita Mack is going to join me on the episode. And we're going to dig in deep on this Jezebel spirit and Mark and God. And I'm telling you, now you have to ask them, oh, foolish Galatian, who has bewitched you? Who has bewitched you? Who has bewitched you? Because now we just want to be in with the in crowd. Nobody want to be with Jesus. They want to be with the in crowd. I'd rather be standing with right, because right can stand by itself than to stand with wrong and have a multitude of people behind me and still end up in hell. No, I stand with right. Jesus is right. I stand with right. And I can say that for that movie with Netflix Cuties, the advertising was wrong. The advertising was wrong. I feel like people should watch the movie and talk to their children about boys and girls, because she was ridiculed and mocked in school, being called a slut and prostitute because of what she did, trying to get likes and views. She took a picture of her panties, and that's why those girls kicked out the group. They said, look, you bringing bad energy. They got us mistaken. They trying to call us whores and sluts because you in our dance group. We kicking you out. And they kicked out. But she pushed the girl in the river just so she could perform. I'm telling you, it was like an entity had taken over this young lady. Watch the movie. Then when her mom and grandma was praying over her, and she was standing there throwing that water, this girl had totally went, and she had just transitioned to this whole nother thing, and she was just gyrating and popping and twerking and all on the floor. And I'm like, I said, this girl is possessed. I'm telling you, it's deep, and we have to talk to our children about it. But let's keep the conversation popping. If you like this podcast, please like it and share it. Please like and share it. And you can catch me on YouTube. I'm going to upload my podcast episodes to YouTube. Please remember to subscribe to my channel over on YouTube. I'm just starting at the gate. And thank you for your support. And I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. You have just been Char Time in the news.